We've spent 7 unforgettable days sailing through North America's Great Lakes, a journey filled with luxury, laughter, and a gloriously soaked finale beneath Niagara Falls. From the home of Harley-Davidson to an island where cars are banned and tandem bikes test relationships, even a surprise champagne toast mid-Lake Erie. This wasn't just a cruise, it was an adventure we didn't know we needed, until we were right in the middle of it. This is no ordinary sailing. It's a voyage aboard one of the world's most advanced expedition ships, exploring places we'd never even considered, from iconic cities to hidden gems, cruising on the largest body of fresh water on the planet. If the Great Lakes weren't on your radar before, they might just be now. Let's go! We were invited by Viking UK to experience an itinerary we knew almost nothing about, in a part of the world we never thought we'd visit. Naturally, our curiosity kicked in, and our bags were packed in a flash. Our journey begins with a short flight from Boston to Milwaukee, and the adventure starts right there. So, welcome to Milwaukee. Just off the plane, just seen a Viking rep already. They've taken us to Carousel 1, where we must have had priority luggage because it was there waiting for us. And now, we're just walking to the check-in desk, which is inside the baggage reclaim hall. Now that is organisation. There are Viking reps everywhere. This is fabulous. Very good. Hello. Hello. So, we've literally just got in and now we're going to the bus. And the bus is there, the red bus. Straight to the ship. Wow. We could have landed 20 minutes ago. We're already on the way to the ship.
I'm going to entertain you for the whole 13 minutes that it takes for us to get to the ship. After 13 minutes, I run out of things to say, and then, I don't know, we'll do karaoke or something. We'll figure out something. Let's hope we don't hit traffic.
Although the Viking Polaris had docked in what can only be described as an industrial clearing with a whiff of a cruise terminal in the form of a large marquee, we were welcomed aboard with warm smiles, the usual Viking efficiency, and a bloke playing an accordion. Moments later, and with the serious safety stuff out of the way, we were basking in the serene luxury of our penthouse suite, which, to our delight, offered sweeping views of the Milwaukee skyline across the river and some rather delicious chocolate-covered strawberries as well. For the full inside scoop on both the ship and our plush digs, check out our full Viking Expedition ship guide. We'll link it at the end of the video. Don't worry, we've edited out the bits where we just stare in wonder at the refrigerated minibar in a drawer. Let's take a quick look at the itinerary for this cruise, which is called Niagara and the Great Lakes. It's a 7-night journey that begins in Milwaukee, USA and ends in Toronto, Canada, or the other way round if you prefer your adventures in reverse. Either direction, the experience is the same. Over the course of a week, you'll sail through 4 of the 5 Great Lakes, with only Lake Superior sitting this one out, although it does make an appearance on Viking's longer itineraries. Welcome to Milwaukee. Often overlooked in favour of its shinier Midwestern cousins, it's not just a convenient launch pad for Great Lakes adventures, it's a characterful city in its own right. Think storied breweries, a reverence for Harley-Davidson that borders on religious, and a waterfront so scenic you'll wonder why nobody ever told you about it sooner. Before any actual exploring could occur, we headed to the daily briefing in the Orla Theatre, a venue so sleek and high-tech it makes most university lecture halls look about as modern as something from Hogwarts. With our brains suitably briefed and our curiosity piqued, we drifted over to Pabst Explorer's Bar, conveniently located mere metres from our suite. Armed with the Silver Spirits package, we were free to venture beyond the usual soft drinks and mealtime beers into more spirited territory. Welcome to Pabst Explorer's Bar, named after Pabst, which is the husband to Mamson.
Mr. Mamson.
Literally, Pabst is Mr. Mamson, or is Mamson Mrs. Pabst?
Who knows?
As we chewed over this completely meaningless conundrum and the sun began its theatrical descent over Milwaukee, we sipped cocktails and picked at light bites, pretending to be the sort of people who weren't completely bursting with excitement. You'd think with the number of cruises we do, we'd be used to it, but no, this feeling never gets old. That night's dinner plans, non-existent. Appetite, very much existent. So we made our way to the World Cafe, a relaxed buffet-style affair where we snagged a table for two at the Sternside Aquavit bar. First course, sushi, because why not? Second course, juicy steaks grilled to perfection. And dessert, well, let's just say I conducted a very thorough quality control inspection of the sweet options. Result, passed with distinction. We wrapped up the evening in the Hyde, Viking's discreet little speakeasy on deck one. There's no mixologist in braces performing perilous cocktail theatrics here, just a rolling drinks cart and a small but punchy selection of quality spirits. That's all you need. We found ourselves in the Hyde, right in the hull of the ship, right at the front. It's a place that they've designed to look like the inside of a log cabin. So you get this kind of comfy, sort of rustic look with wood everywhere and fire lit. And you've got these beautiful windows that are cut into the front bow of the ship that looks out. Well, at night you can't see an awful lot, but during the day, I should think it's absolutely spectacular down here. We'll come down and we'll show you. We had the place entirely to ourselves, which made it feel both exclusive and mildly suspicious. Bartender Jefferson kept us entertained with tales and tastings until our eyelids began staging their own protest. Time for bed. Well, good morning from Milwaukee in Wisconsin. It's our first morning on board. We had a fabulous evening last night, even though jet lag finishes off way too early. This morning we've got a tour, an included tour that goes around the city sights of Milwaukee, which includes the Harley-Davidson Motorbike Museum. So looking forward to that. Let's show you some of Milwaukee, shall we? Let's go. Viking includes a selection of shore excursions at each port, and today's offering was a panoramic coach tour of Milwaukee. So we boarded our unusually unbranded coach and were whisked away from the port, with a cheery local guide providing a running commentary that was part history lesson, part stand-up set. We hugged the shoreline of Lake Michigan, past the elegant old North Point Lighthouse, and wound through leafy, rather smug-looking neighbourhoods full of handsome homes and probably a lot of ride-on lawnmowers. Then it was into Milwaukee's downtown, quiet, charming, and unexpectedly sophisticated, like a librarian who rides a Harley on weekends. More about Harleys later. Now, this is one of the city's most iconic historical landmarks. Built between 1890 and 1892. It was originally the home for Captain Frederick Pabst, a prominent beer baron. He founded the Pabst Brewing Company.
Well, he fell in love with a girl whose father owned a brewery already, a smaller brewery. Made it bigger and better.
Now you'll see how opulent it looks from the outside. It's built in a Flemish Renaissance revival style. Gosh, there's lots of different types of style, isn't there? And it's a symbol of the Gilded Age opulence. Shall we go inside? Look at that, we actually get to sample some beer as well. Yes, please. Thank you very much. I think I can get used to visiting beer barons' mansions. Now going through into the butler's pantry. Some silverware and things. Look at that. That's a safe and a half, isn't it? Keeping all your beer money in. Quite literally keeping your beer money in Pabst's case. Here's a fun fact lovers. Some believe the mansion is haunted, with various reports of paranormal activity, including sightings of Captain Pabst himself. Thankfully, we completed the tour without a visit from any of the house ghosts. What a perfect introduction to the city's rich heritage. Back in the coach, we headed east to the Harley-Davidson Museum, with an interesting history lesson along the way.
Tribe of Algonquin. The word Milwaukee means gathering place by the waters, and that is because our three rivers converge right in this area. Native Americans used these waterways as, fertile land for rice and grain, and settled here because of those waterways.
Welcome to the Harley-Davidson Museum, the Mecca for Harley fans all over the world. This place is huge, by the way, absolutely huge. Serial number 1.
Wow.
Oh my. That is incredible, isn't it? After a satisfying amble through the museum, where the machines were so gloriously shiny and imposing that even we motorcycle virgins began to fantasise about leather jackets and open roads, we simply couldn't resist trying a few on for size, figuratively of course, although there does need to be one of those glorious machines in front of a green screen and a giant fan for that ultimate Insta-shot. Suitably revved up, we rolled into the on-site cafe to sample some true Milwaukee icons. Cheese curds, essentially blobs of dairy in its most joyfully squeaky form, and spotted cow beer, a local brew so revered it's practically the state beverage. So this is the spotted cow beer, and it's unique to Wisconsin because it's illegal to sell it outside the state. So we've got the cheese curds, which we were told were good.
With ranch.
Oh, they are.
They're pretty good.
Oh, they're really good. With just enough time left to poke around the museum's very large gift shop, a labyrinth of Harley-Davidson merch you never knew you needed, we made our way back to the ship for lunch. Not that our arteries were crying out for more after those cheese curds, but we're nothing but thorough. Back on board, it was time to wave goodbye to Milwaukee in style, with a sail-away party held out on the sun-drenched decks. There were cocktails in hand, a band setting a mellow mood, and that general sense of smugness you get when you're gently slipping past people who are stuck in traffic. The ship glided away from the city like it was in a perfume ad, the Milwaukee skyline glinting in the light. The grand finale came as we sailed under the Daniel Hone Memorial Bridge, an unexpectedly cinematic farewell for a city that surprised us at every turn. Before we'd had even time to finish saying, "Wasn't that unexpectedly nice?" the expedition team beckoned us below decks for a behind-the-scenes peek into the ship's secret lair, also known as the hangar. This cavernous high-tech garage, normally reserved for action sequences in spy films, is where Viking keeps its most jaw-dropping toys. First up, submarines. Yes, plural. 2 sleek futuristic submersibles called Ringo and George. Yellow submarines. See what they did there? $4.5 million apiece, about the same price as a ticket to see Paul McCartney. They can descend up to 1,000 feet, although guest trips are capped at 300. Also parked inside were 2 military-grade special ops boats, a mere $1.2 million apiece, designed to zip across the water with a dozen passengers, a trained driver, and, my favourite touch, a knowledgeable narrator. Because if you're going to channel your inner Ethan Hunt, you may as well do it with a commentary. The hangar itself is a marvel of design, with dedicated launch doors for the subs on either side and a massive rear garage door for the ops boats. It's basically a Bond villain's dream setup, minus the sharks harnessed with lasers. With just enough time to catch a molten sunset from the glorious Finsa Terrace, Viking's answer to an outdoor Scandi ski lodge, we made our way up to the Aula for the captain's welcome. Here we met the ship's senior officers and expedition team in all their crisp uniformed splendour. If you ever wanted to know who's actually in charge of the submarines, now is your chance. Yes, they have a full-time submarine captain on board. That evening we had a much-anticipated reservation at Manfredi's, Viking's beloved temple to rich Italian indulgence. Think truffle oil, melt-in-the-mouth pasta, and portions that gently mock your restraint and tug at your belt buckle. By the time we'd finished the carb loading like we were about to run a Milan marathon, any notion of post-dinner entertainment evaporated. No show, no nightcap, just a blissful waddle back to our suite and the promise of more adventures tomorrow. Sorry, we're lightweights. With an early arrival on the cards, our day began at 7:30 a.m. with one of those moments that makes you feel slightly smug for being awake. Gliding beneath the mighty Mackinac Bridge. Spanning nearly 5 miles, this suspension giant connects Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas and is the longest suspension bridge between anchorages in the Western Hemisphere. The deck can sway up to 35 feet side to side in high winds, and that's by design. This is meant to prevent the bridge from snapping like a breadstick. Great for engineers, but terrifying for uninitiated drivers. In fact, the Mackinac Bridge Authority offers a driver assistance program for those too nervous to drive across. A bridge employee will drive your car across while you pretend not to be crying. Bundled up at the bow, we listened as one of the expedition team members delivered a live, misty-eyed commentary about its history and engineering, while we nursed hot coffees laced with a whisper of something stronger. It turns out nothing says good morning like dodging hypothermia with a cocktail disguised as a hot beverage. Shortly after our bridge moment, we ducked into Mamson's for breakfast, just as Polaris' sister ship Viking Octantis gracefully appeared in the bay of Mackinac Island, like the cool, slightly older sibling who arrives early and already knows where the best views are. What a fine start to the day! With the ship at anchor, it was time to tender ashore, which the cruise noobs out there is where the ship can't dock and has to anchor away from the land, and you have to be ferried to your destination. It's like a mini cruise where you get to admire the ship from water level without the inconvenience of having to swim ashore. Well, here we are, Mackinac Island. Well, good morning, and welcome to Mackinac Island with the silent C, isn't it?
I keep wanting to say Mackinac.
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 It's one of the highlights of the whole itinerary. Beautiful island,
Yeah.
very small,
I think it's 8 miles. If you went all the way around the edge, it's 8 mile.
8 miles, and no motor vehicles at all allowed on the island.
No.
So it's just bikes and horses. That's the only way you can get around. We're on a horse-drawn carriage tour around the island. It's absolutely stunning, apparently. 500 the population of this island, that's all. And what's the horse
How many
population?
horses? 600 horses.
Yeah, there's a lot more horses than there are people.
And they get shipped in the summer and taken off the island in the winter.
In the winter.
It's too cold for them. And they're only allowed to work for 4 hours a day.
4 hours a day. So
Overworked.
almost like the average YouTuber. We are ready. And we're off.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Once ashore, we hopped aboard a charming horse-drawn carriage for a tour around Mackinac's postcard-worthy town centre, the kind of place where fudge is a lifestyle and cars are strictly not invited. Fudge? Yes, we'll explain later. From there, it was onward and upward, literally, as we swapped to a 3-horse carriage better equipped for the uphill jaunt to Mackinac Island State Park. We have to change horses now, because we had a slightly larger carriage this time with 3 horses pulling up the hill to get to the fort.
These 3, we call them the Pirates. They wouldn't know what the first national park was.
Very relaxed sort of vibe to this, isn't it? Our destination, Arch Rock, a natural limestone arch that looks like nature had a brief flirtation with Gothic architecture. The view over Lake Huron was nothing short of spectacular, even if the horses looked like they've seen it all before. From the heights of Arch Rock, we clipped and clopped gently down the hill to Fort Mackinac. Well, we've come to the end of our little horsey ride. Now we're at the fort. Fort Mackinac, 1780s, 1895, even though it's still here in 2024. Look over there, you've got that lovely view over the lake. So why don't we walk down here, shall we? Yeah. Wow, look at that view over there. We'll go out that way in a minute. Shall we go in the quarters first? The hill quarters, officers' quarters. Wow, there's a beautiful view from up here. Absolutely beautiful. Helen's gone off in the distance there. She's looking for photo opportunities. And why not? It reminds me of one of those sort of forts you used to make as a kid that's just like wood. It's like an idyllic existence,
Yeah.
isn't it? You've got horses and fudge and more horses and more fudge. Idyllic. Look out that way, look. That's beautiful. Look at the tea room. Right, well, the fort was very interesting. And now we're going to take this little path back down to town. So scenic, though. I think it helps that the weather is absolutely perfect. Isn't that a lovely little walkway? Back into the town where we're probably likely to look for some refreshment and then a bike. Lunchtime, I think, before we go out on the bike. I have got me a Mighty Mac. Let's go and find Helen. I think she wanted fudge. I'm not sure who has the healthiest lunch. Look at this bad boy, shall we? Not bad at all. Better than fudge. Okay, so burger consumed. We are now, I think we've gone for a tandem, so that's going to be really interesting. Here we are on our tandem. First time ever riding a tandem. Absolutely impossible to control. Neither of us had attempted one before, and the first 90 seconds were, well, tense. Here we are, look.
Oh, Rich.
Where are you? You there? Here I go again on my own. Although I'm not on my own, I've got a rider on the back. We soon found our rhythm and with stupid grins on our faces, cycled the full 8-mile loop around the island, including a lovely little rest stop in full view of the Viking Octantis. What a bonus! Well, there you go. If you've picked a day to learn how to ride a tandem, which is like the weirdest thing ever, the best day is to go on roads where there's literally no cars, no motor vehicles whatsoever. This is the perfect place to do it, Mackinac Island. You will never find a car here. In fact, they celebrated 125 years of being car-free on the island not so long back. I think it's one of the nicest locations we have ever visited. I mean, look at that coastline ahead. Isn't that incredible? This is the life, isn't it? This is the life. We've stopped at Arch Rock, but underneath it this time, so let's see. There it is, framed beautifully. This is so much fun.
The water is just stunning. Very cold though. Weird to think that it's fresh water though, isn't it?
It is. It's the largest freshwater system on the planet. Lake Michigan holds 1,300 and something cubic miles of water. But I'm utterly gobsmacked about how much fresh water they have. So, if you come to Mackinac Island, hire yourself a tandem.
Lovely and sunny, but not... Did you know what that guy said as he went past us?
No.
Sunny, but not... He said, she's not pedalling.
Is that what he said?
That's not true, I am.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, he's trying to get me into trouble.
Absolute legend.
How dare he?
How dare he indeed. Right, we are now coming into the town. Some beautiful houses again, look. I mean, the houses are just unbelievably lovely. Absolutely beautiful. So we're back in the town, look. Cycling through town.
Oh, the fudge. Smell the fudge.
And there you have it. I think it cost us $33. That was worth every cent. Not sure Helen will do it again. If you like fudge, there is, according to the guide, 17 fudge shops on the island. And we're in a fudge shop. Nope. And this gent here is making some. Oh, it just smells delicious. So delicious. We're now going to take a walk up to the hotel to show you the world's longest porch. Yeah, you heard that. The world's longest porch. Who'd have thought? We've even got a little sign that says this is the best place to take a picture. And there it is. The Grand Hotel with the world's longest covered porch. So make of this what you will, judge it as you will. I think it's actually quite reasonable. There's a charge of $12 to enter the Grand Hotel if you're not a resident, which I suppose keeps the thousands of people away that could possibly just rubberneck around while you're trying to enjoy your $700 a night stay, which I think is the going rate. We are just in time for our taxi back. Though we were reluctant to leave the genteel chaos of Mackinac Island, our farewell was suitably theatrical. As if choreographed by someone with a flair for nautical drama, both Polaris and Octantis departed in synchronised style, a magnificent twin-ship sail away across Lake Huron. We just had our briefing, and this is really cool. because we've been in Mackinac with Viking all day, the two captains have arranged a tandem sail out.
So the captain of Octantis, he was upset because he said the Polaris people were shouting so loud, they were much better at screaming. He was a little bit upset with his Octantis guest.
That evening began in suitably elegant fashion with a perfectly mixed cocktail in the living room, accompanied by a cellist who's clearly trained in the art of music that makes your drink feel fancier. Dinner tonight was in the restaurant, and if there was a venue that could be categorised as a main dining room on board, this was it. The menu changes daily, but by golly, it's good. So on the left side you have the oars available, and on the right side we have today's winner dinner. Drinks in the Hyde tonight were accompanied by more guests and a musical duo. Oh, and some of the local Mackinac fudge. Thanks, Viking. That's what I call thinking of everything. Well, good morning from Alpena, Michigan, on Lake Erie. We're up early today because we're going ballooning. Yeah, that's a surprise, isn't it? Well, no, not actually hot air ballooning. You won't get me in one of those things. We're talking weather ballooning. Yes, the Viking expedition ships have a US National Weather Service approved weather balloon deployment station. On the stroke of 8 a.m. they deploy one, and it goes up into the atmosphere, and they track weather patterns and atmospheric changes so that they can more accurately predict the weather. This is real data we're collecting today, so it's not a test. And of course, no weather balloon deployment would be complete without, well, a little deck party. It's not even 8 a.m. and the officers have cracked open the Kahlua to just spice up the coffee a little bit. Any excuse for a party. I love that.
What you see in my hand here, this is the payload, this is the radio sound, this is the thing that's actually going to do the measuring. It's humidity, it's temperature, it's wind speed, and wind direction. Then at the end, we send this to the NOAA Weather Service, the National Weather Service, and the World Meteorological Organization. And when you check the weather later this afternoon, your data from this balloon is going to be in those forecasts, making it more precise and more accurate. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Well, that was pretty cool. Can't see it. I'm pointing in the right direction, but it's gone. Like the scientist said, it goes up to about 100,000 feet. So that's pretty high. And then tonight, we're going to have a summary of everything that's been collected at the briefing. So we're going to look forward to that. In the meantime, well, let's have a lovely day. We're going to put some washing on. And look at this. There's 2 laundry rooms on 2 of the floors, 5 sets of washer dryers in each. After several full-on days of excursions, enrichment and heavy and calorifically unnecessary fudge consumption, we decided to skip the scheduled shore tours and opt for something truly decadent, a slow day on board. Laundry, then living room, where I stealthily watched my beloved team play while pretending to edit, while Helen sat doing some actual work facing the other way. Shh, don't tell her. Before long, lunch was calling and we answered it eagerly at the World Cafe. Now, I'll admit, I wasn't expecting to fall in love with a hot dog at sea, but the Coney Island dog, a true American legend in sausage form, won us over immediately. A beautiful mess of meat, mustard and muffin-top cultivation.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness, look at that. With hot dog emotions still running high, we sought something sweet to round things off. A dessert bar provided the solution with an unapologetic abundance that left us a little overindulged and in need of a bit of a lie down. I've snuck back into Mamson's because I really do love this. Prince's cake is my favourite sweet thing on the whole ship. So, in the noble spirit of rest, we headed to the spa. Now, having sailed on Viking's ocean ships, we expected something minimalistic, Nordic and soothing. And what we found was, well, just that, and then some. For an expedition ship, the spa is outrageously good. Most ingenious lockers I've seen in anywhere. So you just take your room card and you hold it up, and there it is. Open it up, close it, room card again. No key required, no messing about. So we have managed to bag some time in the spa. Looks like it's very, very quiet. So Helen's enjoying it already. What a spa. I don't think I've ever been in a spa where the windows are so big and so near the water. So, like Helen here, we can literally just do that. Exactly what she's doing. You know, sometimes you have to remind yourself that this is no additional charge to guests, and they can come in when they like for as long as they like. It's open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It is all included. Right, while Helen's doing her exercise, I mean, look at it. That's like extreme cardio, isn't it? We were told to go into the Bade Stamp hot tub because it's supposed to be really nice. Permanently open to the elements, and oh my goodness, it is warm. Oh, Helen's in her element already, look. Yes. Well, oh, that's beautiful. Right, now we're nice and warm. We're going to do the ice experience. Got the cold bucket shower, as we've just seen. Here it is. Oh. Got an experience shower here. I am going to give that a go. Look at it. It's got a shower head the size of a football pitch and about 50 other shower heads. Full power mode. Laser beam, side sprays, rainfall, tropical. Steam room, we've just been in there. We've got a sauna there, we're going to go in there. And over here you've got the hot stone beds. And they're in like a little grotto, like a little cave. And you've got the fire and the view out of the cave. That's a beautiful view. Apart from that woman there. We emerged an hour later in that blissful, slightly dazed state that makes you question whether real life should ever resume. Still glowing, we might have floated directly into a nap, but I was determined to attend the daily briefing, largely to find out what happened to the weather balloon from that morning. Did it survive? Did it send thrilling data? Did it get popped by a passing bald eagle? These are scientific questions that keep an inquisitive mind from resting, you know.
You'll actually get a little icon of our ship right here by Alpena, and you can see the flight path that she took. When we launched it, like I said, it was about 6 feet in diameter, and at 30 kilometers, it was nearly 30 feet in diameter. The balloon reached its tensile strength limit, and it popped, and it came back to Earth.
Well, good morning from Viking Polaris. We've just had a delightful little sail this morning. We've got to go down for a kayak safety briefing, otherwise we can't go in the kayaks later in the week. So that's where we're headed now. So we're due to arrive in Detroit about midday. And then we've got an excursion this afternoon to the Henry Ford Museum. In the meantime, let's get on with the kayak safety briefing.
And then we're going to one by one move into the kayak, and it's going to be alongside here. We're going to be holding it for you to keep it nice and steady. All right?
Kayak briefing behind us, we made our way to the open decks for our approach. To port, Canada, and to starboard, the United States. And ahead of us, Detroit, shimmering through the haze like a city that's seen lots of highs and lows, but still stands tall. As we neared Detroit, cocktail in hand, obviously, the city's impressive skyline rose into view. Glass, steel, and a history of horsepower glinting in the morning sun as we glided smoothly towards our city centre dock. A grand entrance if ever there was one. Hello, darling. Are you enjoying the Detroit summer? No sooner have we arrived than we were whisked away on an excursion to the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation via a coach journey that was, shall we say, colourful. Welcome to Detroit. We are on the bus.
Old Mariners Church. So in a dusty old hall in Detroit, they say, in the Maritime Sailors Cathedral, the church bell chime did rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. This on your right-hand side, Jolly Green Giant. The Dodge Fountain. We just spent $60,000 refreshing that, let us say, for the NFL draft. Truly our most beautiful building in downtown Detroit. It's on the wiki page for Art Deco buildings.
Let's just say the commentary could have been subtitled Detroit Unfiltered. So here we are at the Henry Ford Museum. Founded by none other than Henry Ford himself, the museum is a sprawling, brilliantly curated homage to American invention, grit, and the occasional fascination with the macabre. Oh my, look at this. This looks awesome in here. Absolutely awesome. We'd heard it was worth a visit, but nothing prepared us for its sheer size or the sheer number of "oh wow" moments inside. From the sleek presidential limousines to a full-scale replica of the Wright brothers airplane, every corner told a story. So this was the car that John F. Kennedy was in when he was assassinated. There's the handles on the back for the Secret Service to stand on. Then there was a real goosebumps moment. This is the actual chair Abraham Lincoln got assassinated in on April the 14th, 1865. No, and that's not a bloodstain on it. That's hair oil. Real. This is the actual Rosa Parks bus. And if you don't know the story, I'll give you a quick overview. On December the 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks quietly refused to give up her seat on this bus. She was arrested and convicted of violating the laws of segregation. Parks appealed her conviction and thus formally challenged the legality of segregation. So it was literally the start of the beginning of the end for segregation. Powerful, moving, and a timely reminder that innovation isn't just about machines, it's about people too. This is the last breath of Thomas Edison. These are like toys from all your... You had a little professor, did you? Helen had a little professor. This is a Simon, and I referred to a pocket Simon in a video about the A380 business class for some reason. Merlin, do you remember Merlin? Speak and spell. Thought that was so advanced. Teenager's bedroom, 1987. Oh gosh, I'd have been 17. That'd have been my bedroom. No, well, it looks like Helen's bedroom actually. Twin cassette deck. Dot matrix printer. No, this wouldn't have been in a teenager's bedroom. Been far too expensive. It's an Apple printer. Yeah. Look at these. I just love old tech. Have a game. I've still got one of those. Oh, an Atari 2600. Look, I always wanted one of them. Mum never let me have one, but I did have a rich friend who had one. We used to go around there all the time, just to play the games, not to see him. But for all you slightly younger people, there's a Furby there. Do you remember that? Leave a comment if you remember a Furby. Trying to get one for your child, absolutely impossible. Swatches, do you remember those? Yeah. Everyone wanted a swatch, they were really expensive at the time. This is Henry Ford's violin collection, including 2 Stradivarius, one from 1703, one from 1709. Oh my goodness. Cannot imagine how valuable they are today. And of course, because this is an American history museum, yes, there's a lovingly preserved McDonald's exhibit, because nothing says heritage quite like a Big Mac and fries. Back on board, we were welcomed like returning heroes, with a shoreside reception that ticked all the right boxes, live music, cold towels and chilled drinks. As the ship slipped her moorings and prepared to bid farewell to Detroit, we settled into the Explorer's Lounge, the ultimate perch for departure viewing. A few expertly mixed cocktails, some live music in the background, and the sight of Detroit's many iconic bridges slowly drifting past. It was the kind of moment that makes you realise how utterly vast this planet is, and the experiences you can have that you didn't even know existed. good morning from a very sunny Point Pelee, which is in Canada. What is Point Pelee, I hear you ask, and what are we going to do here? Well, Point Pelee is a small peninsula located in southwestern Ontario in Canada, extending into the mighty Lake Erie. It's part of Point Pelee National Park, one of Canada's smallest national parks, but it's known for its unique geography and is a mix of marshes, forests and beaches, and basically a haven for wildlife. Also, Point Pelee is famous for being a stopover for migratory birds, especially in spring and fall. We are here to do some kayaking and a Zodiac cruise. Are you going to join us? Let's go. Fun fact, it's actually farther south than Northern California, which feels like something Canada should smugly bring up more often at parties. To reach this wild and wonderful spot, we had to hop onto a Zodiac, but not before donning an inflatable life jacket, always a confidence booster, and navigating through the wet locker room in the lower deck. After a short bounce across the water, we landed on the beach and we were met by an extremely cheerful welcome crew. Welcome to Point Pelee. That's called organisation, look at that. Now the kayakers meet over here. We've been given kayak shoes to put on, which is a relief. Don't want to get the other ones ruined. Here we go. Looks like the barbecue is lit. That'll be all ready for us when we get back. After a short walk, we've got to the kayaks. And we're going to go in there, which is the sort of interior waterway. So it's not going to be choppy, thankfully. It's going to be quite a serene experience. Apparently these things are really stable. They haven't had Rich and Helen in them yet. Well, here we are, settled in nicely, ready to go down there, wherever that takes us. Point Pelee. There's a sereneness about it all. It's very, very quiet. Beautifully silent. It's all opened out. From a river to a kind of lake. Not a breath of wind today, it's just beautiful. Yeah, it's the perfect weather for this, isn't it? This is the beauty of having no tide. You can just sit and drift a while. Paddle cam! Well, that was enormous fun, wasn't it, Helen? Quick derobe and head over there to where the nosh is. Live music in the corner there. Look at that. What a view. Wow. Never let Helen loose with a fork and a fire. Look at that. How's that? Perfectly done. Got some crackers on the go. Helen's gone in for another one. Look at those. She's got that down to a T, look. The expedition team are in duo mode. There's a joke here. How many expedition leaders does it take to make a s'mores? One to do it, the other to spend 48 hours explaining how it's done. Time for a little walk. Now for a little walk up the shoreline before we go back to the ship. The Zodiac tour this afternoon. But that launches from the ship, so weird. It's like being at the sea, isn't it? Yeah. It's not. You have to keep reminding yourself that this is a lake. Right, time to head back. Have a nice little walk. On you go, Helen. After you.
See you back in a moment.
Later, after a brief recharge back in our suite, translation, collapsing on the bed with snacks, we set off once more, this time from the ship itself, for a Zodiac ride along Point Pelee's rugged shoreline. So we are all safely in, and Jorge is waving at us. Jorge, the Marshmallow King, as I call him now. So we're heading towards Point Pelee. Not long into our journey, we spotted another Zodiac bobbing silently on the water. Being the helpful types we are, we naturally assumed something was wrong and went to investigate. Turns out we'd been played beautifully. Look at this, look. Floating bar in the middle of Lake Erie. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. Drinks done. We say goodbye to our Polaris bar at sea. And thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Can I pre-order a gin and tonic next time? No, thank you very much. See you later. I think Helen's trying to spot birds with her binoculars and she's not having much luck. So we're having a nice little journey up and down the coastline, talking about the bird life and the wildlife of Point Pelee. The water calm, the sky beginning to rumble in the distance, and the whole scene tinged with that perfect kind of cinematic drama. As the rain began its theatrical entrance, we zipped back to the ship for a galley tour with none other than head Chef Willy. So we've hopped off a Zodiac and we've just met up with Willy, the executive chef, Willy Moores, and he's kindly invited us to a little private galley tour, which is lovely because I think we missed the main galley tour yesterday. We were doing something else. So it's nice for him to invite us back, and we've got a quick tour now, so let's go inside and see how everything is done. Get a sneak preview of the dishes for tonight. Oh, they've all come out, look, for approval. That looks incredible. Wow, this is the crew mess. We never get to see this. This is fabulous. This behind-the-scenes look at Polaris's culinary heart was nothing short of fascinating, spanning the spotless kitchens, the crew mess, and just about every corner where delicious things are plotted and plated. Unbelievably, it was already time for our farewell briefing in the aula, capped off by a lively crew parade, a joyous, slightly teary moment that reminded us just how extraordinary this team and this voyage had been.
Of the Viking Polaris, hep hep!
Somehow, impossibly, our week aboard Viking Polaris had vanished in a blink. But while the sun was setting on this extraordinary adventure, it wasn't over just yet. The final highlight remained, an absolute bucket list belter, Niagara Falls. We boarded the coach for a scenic drive along the ever-photogenic River Road, passing postcard-perfect views that only built the anticipation. Right, here we are at the viewpoint at the top of the falls. So we're going to dash across. We've only got 10-15 minutes. Look at that. It's insane. Absolutely insane. There's a goal. Look at that. Gosh, it looks very Vegas, doesn't it? Now this is the American Falls. We're just waiting to get the tickets for the trip down. But there's the Canadian Falls over there, which is the traditional horseshoe-shaped ones that we all know and love. And these ones are equally. I mean, that's stunning, isn't it? The Canadian side, and that's where we're going. I think that's the Hornblower down there, or one of the Hornblowers. Can take up to 700 people. So it's going to be standing room only. A quick photo stop at the top of the falls gave us a teasing glimpse But we were here for the main event, the legendary Hornblower boat ride to the base of the mighty Horseshoe Falls.
Just going to grab a poncho. Thank you very much. Thank you. Helen's got her poncho. Going to put my Niagara red bin bag on when we get on board.
Dressed in red ponchos that screamed, "Tourist in a bin bag," we clambered aboard, giddy with excitement. Ahead of us, the thunder, the mist, the sheer soaking inevitability of it all. At 187 feet tall and nearly half a mile wide, with 600,000 gallons per second, plummeting down with theatrical flair, Horseshoe Falls isn't just a waterfall, it's Niagara's heavyweight champion. And we were in the splash zone. Standing at the bow as the boat edged into the heart of the mist, we got obliterated.
It's wet. Oh my. Helen, hello. Ah. Woo. It's very wet now. Very wet indeed. There's much we can do here. Can you put...
Oh my goodness, we're right in the middle of it. Oh my
Wow.
God.
Wow. We are. It's I've got to say, this is insane. Whoa, it's so windy in the middle here. Whoa, it's so windy. And, absolutely soaked.
Utterly drenched, completely elated, and laughing like we'd just won the lottery. This wasn't just sightseeing, this was a full-body Niagara baptism, and it was glorious. Even better, we got to share it with two of our Polaris favourites, Jefferson from the Hyde, cocktail legend, and Joel from the expedition team, the human Swiss Army knife. The bucket list wasn't just ticked, it was underlined and peppered with exclamation marks.
The bin bag has failed. I've got water running down my back. Water running down everything. It is quite incredible.
But now I know why it's only 20 minutes.
That was absolutely insane. It's such fun. The bin bags don't work.
Completely pointless.
They don't work.
But I did obviously think they said it's a 20-minute ride. I'm like, oh, that's not very long. But you're in there plenty long, you know.
Yeah, you're not being long.
It's so cool. Literally at the bottom of the waterfall. Amazing.
Rich stayed really dry in his poncho. It worked really well.
As night fell, we reboarded Polaris for one final glide, this time through the Welland Canal locks, the moon reflecting off the water like a gentle spotlight for our curtain call. We were now sailing into Lake Ontario, the last leg of our voyage towards Toronto. So here's the thing. Coming from the UK, the Great Lakes cruise probably isn't on most people's radar, but it absolutely should be. This journey offers the perfect mix of dynamic cities, quaint towns we couldn't have pointed to on a map before, and jaw-dropping natural beauty that surprised us again and again. What made it truly unforgettable, though, was the sense of discovery, exploring places we never thought we'd visit, all from the comfort of a luxurious expedition ship that somehow made adventure feel effortless. And just when we thought it couldn't get any better, we ended it face first in Niagara Falls mist, exhilarated and utterly awestruck. This wasn't just a cruise, it was a journey through the heart of a less seen North America, and yes, we'd do it again, in a heartbeat. Want to know more about Viking expedition ships? They're amazing. Here's a perfect video for you. Please watch this next. Thanks.